ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, and everybody else, to the announcement of the international movement for Black Students United, the cultural exchange at the Gathering of Nations in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in April 25th, 26th, and 27th. This is a difficult time and a unique time to give this message because we are all in mourning over our dear brother, Nipsey Hussle, in California, a great young Black giant who was murdered in California just yesterday. So as we announce an international movement for Black Students United, we send our prayers and positive vibrations and our thoughts of love and of kindness to the family of our brother, Nipsey Hussle, and in his spirit and in his strength of the words and the scripts that he left for us to read and study. We honor our dear brother and those of his offspring and family. We are here broadcasting live from Washington, D.C. at the historic John Wesley AME Zion Church, the national church of the denomination. This denomination is an unusual denomination because it's called the Freedom Church. And the freedom is based on, well, I got my reverend here today, is going to get into it for us as he opens up for us, but the Freedom Church, we want you to know, is the home church of Harriet Tubman, the home church of the Paul Robeson family, the home church of Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass, and many others who were not beholden to the prayer worship services of going to the back door and finding themselves in a less than category. So our pastor, Reverend Zecharius, is here to start us off on the right way, giving honor to the one true and living God that brought us here. And let's bring us on with a strong applause, Reverend Zecharius. Good morning and welcome to John Wesley AME Zion Church here in Washington, D.C. Yes, as Brother Jabar had stated, John Wesley AME Zion Church was founded on the freedom from oppression of our religious expression, social equality, and educational opportunities for mainline society and our Caucasian brothers and sisters in Christ. We believe in the liberation of our race and all people oppressed by ungodly treatment of racism. And one of our trailblazers and former members of the beloved African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, Harriet Tubman, once stated, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. The Ethiopian World Federation Corporation is striving to do just that, change the world. By answering Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s piercing question, that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? This is what the Ethiopian World Federation Corporation is doing for others. With their new endeavor of cultural exchange is a movement to serve others through education, youth leadership, social consciousness, spirituality, and the likes. And as the United Negro College motto reminds us, that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. So as Mr. Jabar's pastor, I support and applaud this effort to begin this journey to put into action a united effort to change lives in America, Africa, and throughout the world. Mr. Jabar and his colleagues have been on a quest to help educate all people for the betterment of God's world today. And as a member of John Wesley AME Zion Church, he is helping to fulfill one of our church focus, which is of implementing inspiring ministries that are impacting the community and our world today. For this and many other reasons, we are proud of him and his colleagues' efforts. And in closing, in the words of another African-American abolitionist and former member of the AME Zion Church, Frederick Douglass says, if there is no progress, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And certainly progress is being made today with this launch May God bless you, your family, and the world. Amen. Amen. So we thank Reverend Zecharius and the John Wesley AME Zion National Church for supporting us here with the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated International Movement for Black Students United. Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated is a 501c4 not-for-profit membership organization ordained in 1937 by His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. Unfortunately, our young people, and as many of us older people as well, have been thoroughly miseducated. And due to that miseducation, Haile Selassie is a person that we don't talk about during Negro History Week or Black History Month or any other months during the year. But His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie is the former Ethiopian emperor, the only nation never to have been conquered by Europeans. This great Majesty and Emperor Haile Selassie left to the Black world family before he left an organization called the Ethiopian World Federation. It was during that time period that the Italians attacked Ethiopia, attempting to colonize as they did others, that the blacks in America put together their nickels and dimes, their quarters and their change drawers to help and send money to Ethiopia in support of maintaining the sovereignty of that nation. His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie was a strong advocate of sending young people to school. He sent young people to school all over the world, and many of them he sent here to America. One of them was his cousin Malaku Bayan, who later married a Black woman from America, his beautiful wife and soon-to-be princess. But Dr. Malaku Bayan came to this great city in Howard University to receive his doctorate degree in medicine, but also was the first Ethiopian doctor to receive a higher education degree in the Americas. It was through Dr. Malaku Bayan that His Imperial Majesty wrote a constitution and bylaws to receive the monies from the blacks in America, as he received a delegation that went to visit him when he was in London. So there has been a long and strong relationship with the international community from blacks in America. Some call it Pan-Africanism, some call it internationalism. And when it came to His Imperial Majesty, it was just a close relationship, so that he gave us what he called is our heritage that was being returned to us, which was Ethiopia. So we thank His Imperial Majesty, and we thank the Rastafarian community that has held up the Ethiopian World Federation all of these days. The International Movement for Black Students United is launching a specific cultural exchange. When His Imperial Majesty was here to visit on a trip, he met with Georgetown University and received an honorary diploma there, but he also met with some Native Americans from Michigan and other areas, and they awarded him a headdress honoring his authority and honoring his seat being in the Solomonic dynasty. But it was through this support of students that we bring ourselves today, in the support of a great young man named Daquann Harris here from Michigan, that same state where that Native American chief recognized His Imperial Majesty as another chief in a foreign land. This great young man, Daquann Harris, he ran for school board just a few weeks and months ago and fell short by only a few votes. He's an active young man, working on the Capitol and working with Sheila Jackson, the most recent congressperson and representative, to put forward a reparations bill, HB 40, supported by NCOBRA, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. So I want you to listen to this great young man as he shows us the leadership of youth today, as we push forward the platform, the five-point platform of the International Movement for Black Students United, which include youth voice, representation, and decision-making on all government levels for young people, reparations, which hold us as a people, learning our history and culture, like the culture that I shared and the history that I shared today of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. We believe in our 5-point platform for education for liberation. And we also believe in cultural exchange, which we're going to be talking about in a few more minutes, going to the Gathering of Nations in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So at this time, put your hands together for Daquann Harrison.
Greetings, first of all, to God, who's head of my life. I'm to this pastor. Welcome here. Honor to Brother Jabar for his leadership with the Ethiopian Federation. Also, give on to my pastor, Bishop Don W. Shelby, Burning Bush Church of God in Christ. Won't be before you long. Just want to come with a quick word. We lost Brother King. We lost Brother Malcolm. We lost Sister Rose. We lost Sister Fannie Lou. We lost Brother Douglas. We lost Brother Mandela. We lost Sister Tubman. We lost Sister Truth. We lost Brother W.E.B. We lost our freedom. We lost our lives. We lost our peace. We lost our black community. We lose our black community. Yet we haven't lost unity. We stuck together through the losses. We stuck together through the killing. We stuck together through the good and the bad times. We stuck together through the elections. We stuck together through the push-offs. We stuck together through the struggle. We stuck together even though our oppressors tried to kill us and take us out, even though even now our law enforcement officers are killing unarmed black men. We're still sticking together here. We have a crooked and corrupt government that is messing with our children in our education system now. Services that we need for our students to have equitable and education. But unity is what has kept us and what will keep us. Unity will cause barriers to be broken. Unity has the power to transform tragedy into triumph and ultimately allow us to overcome the barriers of oppression and systematic injustice. Through unity, peace is able to be achieved. For this is why Dr. King preached the importance of unity and the subsequent effect of peace among peoples of all colors, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds. So this is why I'm honored and pleased to support. I'm also be a leader in this work with the Ethiopian Worldwide Federations for the International Movement for Black Students United. Because as we push youth support, as we push reparations, we push history and culture, as we push education for liberation, as we push cultural exchange, it's important that we stick together in unity, because we have to stop taking each other off the map. We have to stop putting each other down. We have to stop not loving one another. We have to stop not supporting one another, no matter how big or small you may be. We all are one in the eyes of Christ. We all are one in His eyes. We are all equal together, and we are all black. So once again, thank you, Brother Jabar, for the opportunity. Thank you, Pastor, for welcoming us here. I look forward to this work. I look forward to building Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I look forward to taking this work international as it already is, but into all nations, into all schools and so forth, and churches and communities. So thank you once more. Amen.
Thank you, Daquann, for those words. We're excited to be traveling to the Gathering of Nations in Albuquerque, New Mexico on April 25th, 26th, and 27th. And we're going to be doing just that, which is looking for unity amongst our own people. We know through our trips, the West Dayton Youth Task Force, I founded in Dayton, Ohio in 2014 in response to the murder of a young man who was shot dead and left in the alley to die as snow covered his body. There was a community elder that got on social media and said that churches should open up their church homes on Friday and Saturday in Dayton and give the young people a safe place to go, a safe haven on Fridays and Saturdays. So it was in that spirit that I started the West Dayton Youth Task Force and started hosting youth cultural movie nights, where we would bring young people in, give them some entertainment that was, education oriented based on our history, our culture, and then also give them something to eat. And so we learned from that work, and that work expanded and that work grew. But it was at that point we drew up a vision and mission statement, and in that vision and mission statement, we had the desire to be international. And so here we are a few years later, teaching young people our history and our culture. We're in our third year of our campaign to promote culturally relevant curriculum and culturally responsive schools. We have a toolkit that's available online that we've been taking around the country, educating against the miseducation, as Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the author of Black History Month and Negro History Week, whose home is just a few blocks from the great John Wesley AME Zion Church. So we are thrilled to be here today as we continue to push the theme of unity as we travel to Albuquerque, New Mexico to dialogue with our brothers and sisters, our families of the indigenous family, knowing that they are original people just as we are original people. So we will be seeking friendship and cooperation in all fields of endeavor, in education, in trade and commerce, and other fields as we share our traditions and cultures with them. That Kwanzaa and the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles that we will be sharing, the meaning of the cup, the meaning of the mats, the meaning of the candles, the meaning of the kanara, and all of these great traditions and cultures that we have. We've been blessed through the Wesley Youth Task Force and other membership organizations to be able to travel to Albuquerque, New Mexico on 2 different occasions. And it was a blessed, unique experience to be able to travel there because there's a different reality in understanding your colonizer and your relationship to your colonizer. So I was very thankful to meet a young man named Andrew Longhorn out of La Placita Institute, who is affiliated with the Pueblo community there, these indigenous sovereign nations. And this young man, Andrew Longhorn, at the age of 16, he was on stage educating us about how they return back to their original language, how they're practicing writing and reading at NACA, their Native American community school, how they were returning back to the traditions of the way that they hunted and the specific animals that they hunted, how they're returning back to agriculture and planting the specific plants that their tribes and groups planted. And so we learned so much from our brothers and our sisters there as they seek to decolonize their minds, knowing that we're on that same journey to decolonize ours. And so we met a young man in New Orleans, Antonio Travis, and we're going to show his video very shortly, who's in support of this movement, who had a cultural exchange with us in Ohio in support of our culturally relevant curriculum toolkit. Antonio is a part of the culture and tradition of Mardi Gras. And when we learned that Mardi Gras is not just a party, not just a time to have fun and consume alcohol, but it is also a time to respect our history and culture in our relationships with our Native American family. It was then that our Native American family would find us as runaway, quote, slaves, knowing that we were actually enslaved, but they called us runaway slaves. But our Native American family would hide us from our oppressors. They would hide us from those that wanted to enslave us and keep us in bondage. And they would find large suits to put them in when the Caucasian or the European will come to look for them. It is those same large suits that they design and celebrate in Mardi Gras that relationship with the Native American family. So we are not establishing a new relationship, we are reestablishing the old and making all things new. So we're gonna go to a short video. Unfortunately, the video did not come out clear, so we're just gonna have the audio, but you can listen to Antonio Travis, director of the Black Men Rising movement out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and also family and friends of Louisiana incarcerated children.
Another big thing for me with this night together is I was put out to go to Mexico, and we were an organization called Daquann. It was a young man named Abraham. And I even heard who he did that was getting to the land as well. One of the things I don't see a lot of land is especially was black folks and our who had the land for so people can't touch it. So I'm really excited about that together. I'm really excited about it. We all want to come together and I just want to do this video and then like you really what y'all really want me to happen. I'm like so that really sets the trend. I can go there really quick now. And the rest of the brothers and brothers, I know it's just a product. So I just wanted to say that real quick. You know what I'm saying? Again, just calling for the Black Man Rising. These are all my brothers. I can't wait. Hopefully we can go through it. So peace.
Thank that giant for his support with Antonio Travis from the Black Men Rising in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Ethiopian World Federation again has initiated International Movement for Black Students United under the leadership of International President Bishop G. Morrison and the chair of the Ethiopian World Federation, Incorporated Special International Education and Information Committee, the Honorable H.A. Jabar. The organization has initiated the development of an international movement for Black Students United for the immediate purpose of organizing these students and their parents to attend the 36th Annual Gathering of Nations event in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2019. A committee made up of several organizations from grassroots to international is guiding activities and will host an online virtual summit during the week of the Gatherings of Nations event. The Gathering of Nations event is annual and will take place this year on April 25, 26, and 27, and is open to all and brings together Native American tribes from Canada, the United States, Central and South America. The Gathering of Nations event features a pageant from Miss Indian World, an Indian traders market featuring artists, crafters, and traders selling Native American and indigenous arts and crafts, and additionally has Stage 49, a contemporary music and performance space where Native musicians and others experience performance on a professional stage in front of a large audience. A pre-event cultural exchange is under development by the committee to bring students and parents together on one platform to gather socially, to address their role as youth leaders in their communities and their impact on world affairs. The intent of this initiative by the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated is to instill in a new generation of youth the importance of history and culture and a mindset of nation building, industriousness, independence, and liberation. Additionally, it is designed to align young people of African heritage with the international peers from Native and indigenous tribes and the Latino community to engage in mutual benefit relationships and continue peace and cooperation dialogue. These goals will be achieved through continuing cultural exchanges and cooperative education programs arranged through the Ethiopian World Federation and the International Movement for Black Students United. We are excited that NCOBRA, the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparation in America, who has been in existence for over 30 years, and they are supporting this initiative, and the NCOBRA Youth Commission will be sending a delegation, sending them out in support of HB 40. HB 40 is a bill put forth by NCOBRA many years ago, but has been currently revised and updated to force the study of what has been done to us through the Ma'afa or the Great Disaster, what has been done to us by others, governments, businesses, universities, and what is owed, what is the debt specifically that is owed. This bill has been put forth previously by Detroit Congressperson and is now put forth by Sheila Jackson, Congresswoman out of Houston, Texas. So we are in support of HB 40, the Ethiopian World Federation, and pushing this coalition forward, as well as this platform for the international movement for Black Students United. We thank NCOBRA and we thank all of the organizations that are supporting HB 40, and you can find more about HB 40 at NCOBRAonline.org. The NCOBRA National Convention will take place on June 20th, 2019 through June 23rd, 2019 in Detroit, Michigan. NCOBRA will be announcing an essay contest for youth, and you can find out about that information online at NCOBRAonline.org. The essay contest and the convention is titled 400 Years of Terror, a Debt Still Owed. We have information about the banquet, about lodging, all of it is there on the website, NCOBRAonline.org. You say NCOBRA online.org. And so as we wrap up our press conference, we thank the Ethiopian World, the West Dayton Youth Task Force. We thank the AME, Zion denomination, the Freedom Church, the Church of Harriet Tubman, the Church of the Family of Paul Robeson, the Church of the Freedom Fighters Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and so many others as their fight continues today. We thank the work of the Ethiopian World Federation. We thank family and friends of Louisiana's incarcerated children. We thank Racial Justice Now. We thank NCOBRA, and we look forward to meeting with our Native American family in Albuquerque, New Mexico on April 25th, 26th, and 27th. You can find information at EWF headquarters of how you can support this great venture as we open up dialogues from brother to brother, from nation to nation, as we push forward the international movement for Black Students United. We thank you all for tuning in, and we wish you all peace and blessings. Thank you.